Hangouts, myself, Matt,
Hello.
and Nick.
Hello, everybody.
That hello, Matt, was a little off. Wasn't your normal hello, everybody?
Hello, everyone.
There you go.
Ah, that's much better.
Yes.
I know. Nick is on location in his camping site.
Yes.
See.
Yeah,
Wilderness
he-
adventure, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm out of
He
the
actually
dungeon.
decided to touch grass for once.
Yeah. Oh, finally. Like I said, the weather's finally broken after like 2 weeks of. Ugh, it's just been terrible here. So finally, we get like nice sunny weather here, and enjoy it while you can, because you never know.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
It's Ohio.
exactly. It could break out into a snowstorm within the next 5 minutes.
Don't you dare jinx it. Knock on wood.
So we got a couple things going on tonight. I'll just wait for some more people to show up before we start getting
Okay.
into the swing of things. So tell us about your cabin con experience there, Matt.
Yeah, this is like the 10th year me and my group, we go and rent a cabin at a state park in Kentucky, and we just board game all weekend. So all of our purchases over the course of the year, this is our excuse to actually justify them and play them. We got a group of 7. So we had our cabin. We went down on Thursday and basically gamed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and drove back Monday. And
Nice.
it was fantastic.
So, what board games do you guys play?
Oh, we played. Well, I could pull up the spreadsheet because we actually
he's
do.
got a spreadsheet.
We keep a spreadsheet of the winners and losers because they matter.
Wow.
It's like we played the Avalon Hill auto racing game.
Let me.
And
how about Settlers of Catan?
No. We don't play that. We're playing things like we played a lot of like co-op or social deduction type games. Since we have 7, it's a weird number to get board games. So we'll play like the Battlestar Galactica game from
I
Fantasy
didn't know
Flight.
about that one.
Yeah,
I have that one on my shelf.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We have all the expansions, and it's a really expensive game if you want to.
Ever played Great Space Race?
Yes.
Love that game. That's a fun board game.
I think we haven't played it, Cabin. I'm trying to think. That's a Kenzer, right?
Yep. I don't even think they make it anymore.
I played that. Yeah, I actually played that at a local game store with Tim Kask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the entire time he was like kind of grousing about how they should have asked him to help edit the rule book. It's just like rules changes he would have made.
Oh my god.
But we played that where Eldritch Horror. We played Eldritch Horror.
Cool. Eldritch Horror is fun.
Yeah. The Captain is Dead. We play. It's basic kind of a not Star Trek theme where like you're just dealing with all these disasters and you kind of have to maintain your ship from like being falling apart. It's an interesting co-op game.
Okay, so it's cooperative. Okay.
Yeah, we played that. Werewolf 1 week. Ultimate Werewolf. It's a little different. It's because you actually have like a board, the tiles you lay out with rooms, and you have a wooden piece, and you have a token that's face down on it. That's your role. And each night you move room to room. And then that's kind of where you can pick what you're doing because you have like actually a deck of like a hand of cards with like 2 villagers, a sage, the troublemaker, and the robber. And you announce on each night what card you're playing while everyone's eyes are shut, but that doesn't have to be what you actually do. And like the different rooms have different abilities, like increasing you can use your cards on people in rooms that are adjacent to you, not just in your room. So it's kind of like, it's interesting because there's also a couple NPC characters that are moving around too that could be werewolves instead. So there's a lot of moving bits.
But it's like the board is like tiles that you put down, so it's always random.
Right. Well, there's like some scenarios, like they recommend you use these specific sets of rooms, but each room's that have different abilities.
It sounded a little bit like Zombies in a way, that tile game.
Yeah, except this actually makes a circle.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're curved pieces that'll make a complete loop. So that way you can just you're always moving either left or right out of your space.
Okay.
So that was interesting. We played some Power Grid. I can't even think. We played like 40 some different games.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
And that we
games.
didn't even touch all the games we brought either.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is our 10th year of doing it, and it's pretty much an annual tradition at this point. So, like you right now, the setting you have would be a perfect one to do something similar with your group.
Really?
Yeah, you can do it.
Oh.
Yeah, the weather's nice. Outside, touching some grass, playing some games.
Well, we
Bunch
do
of
a
alcohol.
cabin con thing now. Since COVID, so we did that last year,
Okay.
and up off really right off of Lake Erie, we found
Wow.
a cabin. It had like how many bedrooms? I want to say 5 bedroom place.
Oh, nice.
And I mean, we did primarily we did like I know Jeff did he did like a one shot. He ran it like a tournament module. So we did
Okay.
something like that. And I did I did an 1980s Call of Cthulhu one shot. It was like Cthulhu Vice, Miami Vice meets Call of Cthulhu. It was very cool.
Nice.
That was fun. Based off of some real life stuff I found online about the certain Mexican drug cartels, and back in the 80s, how there was one faction called, they were known as the Narco Satanists. Look them up. That was a real thing. But now that we've been doing that, that seems to be the thing that seems more of our speed. I liked going to Origins, but it's just so hard dealing with a convention when it gets so big and trying to get a room and.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. It's like for Origins and Gen Cons, I have local friends. My room's taken care of, so I just crash with my friends. So that makes the logistics end of it much simpler. And when I go to those cons, I'm not going to game. I'm going to socialize. I'm going to see my friends at the con. I play my games every week with my group. We play so many different games, and right now we're doing more shorter 1 or 2 shots and just moving on to the next thing. So we're getting a lot of that convention type gaming in.
Wow. Okay.
So at that point, I don't need to scratch that itch at a con. I don't have to worry about events. I just go there, see my friends I only see at the cons, and buy stuff that's going to sit on my shelf.
I just like going at my own pace, not worrying about a schedule. It was fun when I was younger, but now it's like, I'm not exactly I'm not exactly a spring chicken anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I like the idea of getting up whenever we want to.
Yeah.
And then playing whenever we want to.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's like I'm probably going to go to Origins this year, because I took the time off, and originally I was thinking there's a video game convention in Philadelphia, Too Many Games. It's the same time frame as Origins, and I was going to go to that because that I know some people that'd be going. Well, they're not able to go. One of them had a child back in January. So at that point, hey, new baby, they can't go. And then some other people aren't going. So it's like, at that point, I'll go to the con that's closer to home and see people I haven't got to see in a while up in Columbus. So and it's the same weekend, so I don't have to change my time off work. I'm like, and it's going to be cheaper because it's closer. So
what about you, Vince? I mean, I know you've done North Texas RPG and North Texas RPG Con or whatever it's called. I forget.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be going to that this year though.
No,
probably not. Though there is tomorrow Collectors Con here in Dallas.
Oh,
which I know Matt would love to go to. That's definitely a Matt thing.
God.
You can collect your own. Your budget wouldn't take it.
No. My budget's still reeling from all the traveling I did last year.
I think that's coinciding with Free Comic Book Day, isn't it? That's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Free comic book days tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Remember, I heard something on the radio about it. So
Yeah, so you can go to them. You can get all collectibles from Star Wars to wrestling. So I'm gonna probably go just to get some wrestling stuff. I like collecting all the old wrestling stuff. So
Yeah.
as far as gaming stuff, conventions, I don't think there's anything really coming up other than North Texas. But I'm not going to that.
find me a fridge magnet, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. That would be cool.
I thought you wanted a refrigerator Perry magnet for a minute. The way you started that sentence, I was like,
No, I want an actual refrigerator magnet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, you could get maybe there's a GI Joe fridge Perry magnet.
There you go.
Yeah, he's in GI Joe canon.
Yes,
he has an action figure.
That's true.
That was the send away special thing you had to get for him.
Yeah, it was him.
Anyway,
Sergeant
special.
Slaughter was the other. The first Sergeant Slaughter was the other one too.
Well, that's a given, Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah. Well, he did have a retail re-release when he had Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he came with he had a vehicle too.
Wasn't that Tiger Force?
Let's see. Well, actually, no. The mail away slaughter was actually the LJN, not LJN Hasbro figure. His wrestling figure was the mail away.
I just heard that sentence. Mail away slaughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it out of any other context.
I mean, that figure is the whole reason he left WWF.
Oh, really?
He had a deal with G.I. Joe. They wanted him to break that deal because they were going with LJN for their toys and they didn't want to have this guy doing his other thing. So he left and went to the AWA and became a part of G.I. Joe. Because Slaughter and G.I. Joe actually came with that white vehicle, like the four-wheeled vehicle. He was the pack-in with the vehicle. And then he had the Marauders, which had the other Slaughter figure. So he had two of the original. And then I'm sure there's re-releases and crap, too. Like there's a Roddy Piper G.I. Joe.
Yeah. I remember there was a Slaughter one that came out during the Dick era. And he was kind of weirdly colored, like really bright colored from the cartoon. He looked really dumb.
Yeah.
Or deep, I should say, not Dick.
Yeah, because they also did that. By then, I was out of G.I. Joe once they got to the Tiger Force and all the ninja. Everything was a ninja in like bright colors.
That's
by
true.
Then,
there was like this big ninja craze.
Yeah, it kind of coincided around the Power Rangers, if I don't recall correct.
Power Rangers started in '93, so
that's kind of I think when all that started to hit. I mean, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes were always like popular because they were the ninjas, but they were the only two. And then you had like the other martial artist was Quick Kick, and then there was the Red Cobra martial artist. I can't remember.
And then we had Jinx too. She was also a martial artist.
That's who I was thinking of. Because she was red.
She's G.I. Joe.
Although she's G.I. Joe. For some reason, I'm thinking there's also a hooded red one.
Unless that was part of Tiger Force, I don't really remember, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd have to dig out the old figs to see, because I still have all my old G.I. Joes.
I have some of mine. I don't have all of them anymore.
The biggest thing is
mine are gone in a landfill somewhere, I'm sure.
We actually have a toy store in Fairfield, Ohio called the Toy Department that sells the complete G.I. Joes. And every time I go in there, they just have like 40 or 50 complete loose G.I. Joes. I'm like, those are
how much?
Like 10, 15, 20 bucks.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow.
But they're minty and have all the parts.
They're minty.
So, yeah. It's just like they also do the same thing with the Kenner Star Wars figures, because since Kenner was a local Cincinnati company, those things are everywhere.
It's a Slaughter book for the Renegade Design Studios G.I. Joe game. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I actually have the game. I haven't actually looked at it, though. I finally actually picked it up. See what it's all about. I know you complained about Transformers, how it was being meh. So I'm thinking G.I. Joe is probably going to be meh, too. So Nick is swiping his finger on the camera there. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm adjusting my screen. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
Anyway, so this isn't the G.I. Joe podcast, though I'd love to do a G.I. Joe podcast. That'd be a lot of fun. Just recapping G.I. Joe, talking about G.I. Joe. That would bring in some views, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Love G.I. Joe.
Yeah. Go back and just because I haven't watched some of those episodes in years and watched the movie when they started killing people. Those movies for Transformers and G.I. Joe were very much out of line with the cartoons.
Yeah, but Firefly wasn't really a ninja. He was more of just an undercover bomb expert.
Yeah.
Captain Frost is saying Firefly had a camo outfit, but he wasn't really, he looked like a ninja, but he really wasn't a ninja.
He was a ninja wannabe.
He just blew shit up.
Yeah.
Like I said, a ninja wannabe.
I mean, by that philosophy, Beachhead was a ninja.
Right. Or later on, they had the
Shipwreck was a ninja. No,
they had the SWAT guy who was actually in just like blue and dark blue with the baseball cap and the SWAT gear. Had a bunch of cool accessories.
Running out of ideas, G.I. Joe was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they discovered repaints.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Anyway, so let's get on to some news for tonight. So I got a message from one of the people in our chat here, Stephen Watson, who told me about a new store that was opening up called Your Parents' Basement. It is
okay.
Yeah, it is located in Pennsylvania. And let me get this up here for you. It's basically an 80s look up at a basement. It's a gaming store, a comic book store, and everything like that. Once we get into some of these pictures, you'll see why. But look how big this place is.
Oh, wow.
And this is looks like just the entrance here.
Yeah.
So there's couches, there's TVs with various things playing, and then we get a little tour around the place. Here's one of the gaming rooms, which looks like one of the rooms that what's his name, Joe Manganiello would play in.
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised they're not like filming stuff for WotC there.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
Cool. Where is this? Pittsburgh or Philly?
Philly.
Butler, PA.
Butler, PA.
I think that's closer to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh.
Anyway, so here's one of the little rooms you could sit in, and look, there's He-Man on the TV right there.
Oh my God! Look
nice.
See, there's tons of games on the shelves. I guess they're replicating, an old school basement from the 80s. Though my basement did not have a carpet on it like this. We just basically had either a carpet or a wooden floor. So
we had wooden paneling on our basement. Yeah.
Oh, it's an old bank. That's
it's
why.
an old bank. Okay. That's
members only. I wonder what the 2 stories. It's 2 stories of a former bank. Okay, got it.
That makes sense for the layout.
I'm guessing the vault is like a VIP room or maybe an employee room or something. Or
yeah.
And here's an overview of that little same spot we just saw before with the He-Man. There's still He-Man playing on the TV, and all the little games all around it.
That's so cool.
And here's one of the places you can play some games. So if you want to stay there with your friend, it's north of Pittsburgh. Okay.
Oh, okay. I might have to check that out. That's my neck of the woods, more or less.
Yeah, look at these long, nice tables with Saved by the Bell, the pattern designs on them.
Yeah.
And here's some of the games that they have on shelf that you can play.
Nice, well-stocked game library.
Yeah. Here's another view of some more games you can play. I mean,
Mall Madness, Electronic Dream Phone.
Oh my God!
Looks like all the old board games so far. So
yeah,
there's like a Game Boy kind of thing up there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some more games.
Yep.
Imperial Assault. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mansions of Madness right here.
Yeah, they got a nice mix of like the retro games with the newer stuff too. Ask Xandar.
I remember Ask Xandar.
Oh, they have a light bright.
Yeah.
There's another view of the room. I'm wondering if okay, so it projects it on the table.
Oh
yeah.
Oh.
That wasn't clear, but now it's clear. It looks like it projects it on the table so everybody could see what the GM is seeing while the projection they're seeing.
That's awesome.
I wonder if it has a whole fog of war thing too.
Yeah, it depends on the software they're using.
Another overview of the place. Yeah, you can see the old teller spots here where people go up and fill out their whatever. Wonder how they afforded an old bank.
I don't know.
Sometimes the
floors, my God.
Yeah.
tons of D&D stuff over here. Here's some 1E stuff right down here. It looks like, or is that?
Yeah.
Actually, that looks like a Goodman Games. The way it is
Yeah.
down here in the right hand corner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah,
that's a
that-
Temple of Elemental Evil reprint
Yeah.
for 5e, I think.
Wow, some nice
That is neat.
tables here with the TVs and everything.
Yeah.
It is next door to an existing comic book shop. The vault has safe deposit boxes for storing your materials as well. So the vault is a VIP room for members of, like, you have to join their club or something.
Well.
Steven? Is that it? You got to join their
Well.
club? Yeah.
That's impressive.
And then we're back to the front. So that's basically that place there. I just wanted to give you guys a quick view of that, and everybody who's in that area who may want to go to that, which they are located exactly on 106 South Main Street. 6,000 square feet of tables, couches, and dozens of CRT TVs.
Damn.
5 vaults with member storage and safe deposit boxes, a meeting room, and a hand-carved wooden table from the 1920s.
Oh,
Cool.
Yeah. 1980s living room set stocked with our board games, plenty of marble, brass, and wood paneling for nostalgia. Give us a call at 878-271-1379.
We do parties.
Tell them Captain Frost sent you.
We do parties, bar mitzvahs.
Oh no. I'm now thinking if you were still doing your Marvel villains game, your inept villains would try to rob that, thinking it was a bank.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they spent the first couple episodes of the first season doing Ponzi schemes, so.
So yeah, they would actually like, oh, we got a bank, we got the map here, and where's all the money? Why are there so many games?
Nick is on the move.
Yep.
Nick
I'm
is on
grabbing
the
my
move.
jacket. Grabbing my jacket. It's getting a little chilly out. Sorry.
Poor Nick. Anyway, so our game tonight that we're going to review is pretty interesting. What did you think about it, Matt?
Here, let me get it pulled up here because I forgot.
It's called Barbaric 2E. Now, the Kickstarter for this is going to be coming out in July.
Yeah.
That's the cover. I don't know if it's the final image of the cover or the placeholder, or because I know it's the draft that we got was just a play test that wasn't really, it didn't have much of a layout to it. It was just kind of text.
Yeah, it's pretty much text.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always interesting to just start seeing people take gaming in different directions, because that's probably the best thing about like Kickstarters in general is instead of just getting like rehashes of existing systems, people actually trying to take things in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like trolling Kickstarter just for new ideas, because that's kind of where they are at this point, because the stuff you're going to find on drive-through RPG just kind of ends up being more derivative than actually innovative at this point.
So this is our playtest document we got. This is second edition. I don't know if there was a first edition of this game.
That kind of implies there was, but you know.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I saw this. Omer, excuse me, dropped it into our Facebook group, WGP Facebook group, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. I want to. If you don't mind sending me a playtest document, if you have one, I'll review it on our Friday Night Hangouts." He's like, "Yeah, sure." I said, "Do me a favor, just put playtest over it, so it's all on the straight and narrow." I always do that with people, so there's no excuses going on here. But so we're going to taking a look at this. I thought it was actually pretty cool. It's a 2d6 based system.
Right. Yeah. A little reminiscent of the old Lord of the Rings Decipher game that was also 2d6, but strictly in using the 2d6 as dice and not having like needing the big bago dice to chuck. So that's
the fact that it's just 6-siders makes it really easy, very accessible to everybody.
Right.
Yeah. There's 2 ways to do it. There's 2d6 plus whatever level whatever skill you're using or ability you're using. And there's D66, which basically you take it and roll like a percentile dice. You call a color. The first one would be 1 to 10 to 60. and the second would be 1 to 66.
Yeah, it's like used in some of the tabletop sports games, like at APBA, and use the similar systems of you roll the 2 dice and one's your 10s and one's your.
What I was talking with Vince about earlier, it actually reminded me of another game a little bit in that regard. Was 4 Against Darkness, which we played.
Yes.
In as far as like the percentile thing, like you were talking about, like the
Yes.
random generation of the dungeon. So I thought I think that's a pretty cool, innovative way he's using D6s. I never even thought about.
Yes, definitely. The one thing I like about this is that I know there is another 2d6 system out there. The one by Gallant Knight Games, the new D6 system they have, Tiny Dungeons, whatever it's called. I'm sure you've seen that, Matt, right?
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I haven't really looked into it much.
Yeah, theirs is more like 2d6, and you add them together and you get your number and stuff like that. It's kind of like this, but not the same, because this guy actually has a different method of doing things. So let me get to some of the things that you can do here. So basic dice conventions means you roll 2d6, and then sometimes you'd have a modifier of -2 or +2, 2d6 +2, 2d6 -2. So you get the idea. Roll 2d6 and minus your final results. And then we got the d66, which we went over. And then there's different things like throw. They call it throw 2d6. Throw 2 6-sided dice and add the results together. Add the skill level and as a modifier and compare to the predetermined difficulty number. If it exceeds it, if it exceeds or equals or exceeds the difficulty number, you succeed. Otherwise, you fail. Nick's going inside. He's cold.
No, my apologies. I'm grabbing my charger.
Yeah, video.
Because it's really sucking down on my battery. I was really surprised.
Yeah, it does. Video would do that.
Yep.
So I'm going to plug in. But I'm listening. I'm with you. Keep going, sir.
The skill notation, which I found interesting, is just throw skill 6+. You would just say throw skill whatever.
Yeah.
Throw lore 6 means throw 2d6 and add your lore skill, and you got to get a 6. Or you could say lore skill 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really kind of reminds me of almost West End Games, their D6 system for Star Wars, which I love because it makes it very quick and thematic. That's kind of the vibe I was getting with this. It's like it's a quick thematic sort of game. Very, very I want to say it's got that kind of pulpy action feel to it. It seems like it's very quick.
Yeah, and then
with things.
And the way with that notation, it's once you understand what throw means, it's really clear what modifiers you get. You don't have to reference different charts and this and that. It's you get this, you get your skill, beat this number.
Yep.
So
Now I look at here are the difficulties on the screen. We got 4+, 6+, 8+, and then 10+, which is the most difficult one. Now I'm wondering if there's some variation in between. I mean, as a GM, I always like to add a little variation, so it's not always just 4, 6, 8, 10.
Yeah.
This time you got to beat a 5. Maybe it's a little bit harder than easier, or
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is just where knowing the probability curve of 2d12. Like a 7 comes up 54% of the time. I used to actually have this crap memorized due to playing hero clicks. Like a 2 is a 1 in 36, and it goes 3's 3 in 30. It's 1 in 36, 3's 2 in 36, and goes up to 7 and works its way back down for the numbers. So you can work into that. If you understand the probability, you can adjust it pretty easily to be as difficult or easy as you want.
Yeah. So there are 6 skills pretty much. There's a combat, there's a craft, there's a lore, there's a physical, there's a social, and there's a stealth. So it's pretty narrowed down to combat, which involves everything doing committing violence. I like how he puts it that way. Anything from spears to catapults. Yeah. Craft would be, mechanical tasks, repairing a boat, picking a lock, things like that. Lore would be, general knowledge, survival skills, medicine, and art. It also covers occult and eldritch lore as well, including casting spells. Physical, anytime you need to exert yourself or use this skill, it can include feats of athleticism and resisting bodily effects such as poison. And social, obviously the charisma of things, talking, lying, carousing.
Yep.
Carousing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Conducting diplomacy, anything to do with talking your way out of a situation or into a situation, or in the situation of
Yeah.
getting into someone's panties, apparently,
Your
is
verbal skills.
listed there. Yeah. So stealth, basically lock picking, sneaking. Though I'm sorry, this is pickpocketing. I apologize.
Yeah, so it's kind of your thievy skill.
Yeah.
Basically, that stealth is a catch-all for your thieves and your thieving
all your
skill
thiefy
set.
stuff.
No, I might have called it like undercover or something like that, or subterfuge. I would have called it that probably.
Yeah.
Subterfuge.
Skullduggery.
Skullduggery, even better. All right, so character creation is pretty much a
Big words.
Yes, 7-step. I forgot about the 7th here because this is really whatever. Think about what you want to play. Do you want to play a barbarian, a dastardly sorcerer, a cunning thief, something different? You distribute 5 skill points. You may not skill more than 3 into any single skill. So I guess basically, if we're looking at all these, there's 6 skills. You can have one of them with a 0, obviously. Yep. You can put 1 in all of them and be a all-around bumbling fool. Put a couple into combat and a couple into zeros. So, if you have a 0, you just count it as you just don't have any bonuses in that area. Yeah. That's all.
And just go straight 6-sided die rolls with no modifiers.
Yeah. And then with the modifiers, I mean, it's not a huge difference just going up 1.
Yeah.
From 0 to 1 isn't that big of a swing. It's when you start adding 2 or 3 that you see the biggest reward. So you would want to put more skills instead of just like 1 in everything with one in everything and then a 0. You would actually want to just kind of pick what your focus will be, because the difference between a +1 and a +0 on 2d6 isn't that huge, unless you're trying until you hit certain numbers.
So you're going to min-max your character, basically.
Yes, because I know what the D6, the 2d6 probability curve is, and where the biggest jump is between 6 and 7 and 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Such a
All
gamer.
Right, so next, man. Pick your archetype next, which is basically kind of like your class or profession, depending on what you're doing, and whatever. Then your stamina, representing your resistance to injury, equals 14 plus 3 times your physical skill. So, 14 if you have a 0 in physical.
Yeah,
because you can't times.
Yeah,
really. You
14
can't really times
plus 3. Yeah, so it would just be 14.
Yeah.
So 14 is the squishiest character in this game.
Yes. You start the game with food and water for 3 days, a backpack, a water skin, a knife, and 3d6 times 10 gold worth of items. Notice not gold.
Yeah.
You get gold items worth value. I guess if you don't spend it, you lose it.
Yes.
Purchase this one of those games like you don't. Oh, too bad. Purchase from the equipment list and the equipment.
I buy some bonds and some investments.
Can I have it in traveler's checks?
Traveler's checks, yes. You can have it on your Diners Club card, Nick, okay?
Okay.
If you have the lore skill at level 1 or higher, you gain 1 spell of your choice from the lore skill level. Finalize your character, choosing name, appearance, and making preliminary notes on his or her motivation and personality.
Yeah.
Fatigue. When a character is fatigued, they suffer a -1 penalty to all actions and may only move 10 meters. I don't like the fact that he used meters, which I don't care, whatever. I know what 2 meters is about 6 feet, so that's...
39 inches is 1 meter, so 1 meter slightly over 3 feet.
Yeah, so it's about whatever. I don't feel like... I don't want to do the math. Yeah,
metric.
The person who wrote this is from overseas, so they're going to do the other system.
They're going to use metric, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to use metric as opposed to what we like. So no fault on him. I don't care. Advantage, beautiful. He added the advantage mechanic, which was one of the only things a lot of people liked about 5e. So, and he does have some non-human races, but the caveat is you can only spend 4 points when building your character because they have their own little abilities. So if you pick some of these here, they'll just say in the description what you'll get based on the class. So you're giving up a point to gain something else.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah, and then in these races, we'll start giving you an idea of the world you're dealing with, because it's just not elves and dwarves. You got your ape folk, your
Diluvians.
Delvolians. Yeah,
I think that's a Diluvians or
Diluvians.
Humanoid producing. So they're
from underground, probably.
I don't know.
No, they predate. So basically, these are like the original old ancient ones, I'm guessing, because they have the magic ability. They instinctively sense magic within the 30 meter radius.
Oh, you know what? It's like his version of the Hyperboreans from Conan.
Yeah.
From Robert E. Howard. Yeah, the Hyperboreans are the same way.
And then ape folks are basically Planet of the Apes, uplifted by sorcery and science to full sentience. So you're getting
into the
that
forbidden zone.
It's almost like something you could see in Thundar.
I could play Dr. Zaius.
Yes. So yeah, you just by looking at those, you start getting a feel for it. And then we have some more here. We got our lizard folk and your gecko folk.
Aren't geckos pretty much the same thing as lizards? Aren't geckos and lizards the same thing?
Except one is going to inherit that sweet insurance money.
Oh, okay. Geico.
Yeah, I want to play a gecko who's a multi-billionaire.
Yeah. No, you're going
who's
to
off
be
of Wall Street.
A gecko folk who has a lot of lore and social skills and runs a successful insurance business.
All right. Moving on. The archetypes that we talked about, we have assassin, beastmaster, berserker, burglar, explorer, healer, hunter, knight, marksman, mariner, merchant, priest, professional.
Yeah.
Okay. Professional. I
He's
guess like you're noble or something.
You can play a boxer. That's cool.
Yeah. Basically, it's like you get advantage on throws related to non-combat professions. So it's basically you have a real job and you're good at it. And all of these classes are really just you get a additional ability. It's not like it's a whole skill set box. It's you get one thing just to give you to make you a little different than everyone else. So it's not so there's not a lot of memorization of okay, I can do this and this and then I can also do this. It's just you get this and you're done.
So keep that goes on. So combat moves, which I was a little bit confused on this when I first read it, but I had to read it a couple times to get it. Characters with a combat skill of 2 or above receive 1 combat move per level of combat skill above 1. That's a little wordy. I had to read that a couple times to get that.
It's
For
like
example,
a special attack, right?
Kind of. For example, a character with a combat 3 receives 2 combat moves. They must be selected from the list of combats available for the character's combat skill. So I'm assuming combat moves means attacks.
You get a combat move that is basically 1 less than your combat skill.
Okay.
Is the number of
how many
combat
times you can attack, essentially?
It looks like for me it reads to how many times you can attack, but I'm not sure exactly.
That's how it sounded like to me too.
Matt?
Yeah,
but when I think combat moves, I'm thinking like special, like roundhouse groin kick or something like that.
What were you saying, Matt? I'm sorry.
A cat laid on my mouse, and that's what I was reaching for because I have the PDF up on my screen, and the cat just is like, "No, you will not scroll."
That's why you have a bottle of water and you go, "No, squirt."
I have a cat laying by my right hand, and then I have one laying by my left hand. So I'm just surrounded by cat.
Anyway, that's the way it reads to me, is if it's your ability, how many attacks you pretty much get.
Yeah. I guess how it was worded, like I said, combat moves sounds like a special like combat ability.
Well, when you go down to the combat abilities, like combat 2, this is what some of you can get.
Right.
So it's not like a combat move in what you're doing. Like
is it
during combat, it's more of a buff.
Is it like a feat?
Yeah, closer to a feat. So basically, like say you have combat, you have one combat move per level. So you say you have 2 moves. You can go down to combat 2, combat 3, and then if you can get 4, combat 5. So those are the different things that you can pick at that level.
Okay, so I get it. It's more like feats in 3rd edition and 3.5.
Right. It's basically a way
that makes sense.
to calculate what you can do, like what type of feat you could take, the strength of it.
That makes sense.
Right. Okay. Cool. We solved that one. Now, experience is another thing I was talking to Nick before you got here and before the show. Heroic and determined characters may develop their talents quickly and become living legends. To represent this, the Barbaric offers an experience system. Character gains. Is there a monster attacking back there, Nick? What was that noise?
Dogs.
Oh. Character gains 1 experience point per adventure. Every 5 experience points, you rise in rank. The ranks are experienced, expert, master, grandmaster, and legend. So what, after 25 experience points, so to speak, you will be the ultimate character. Yeah.
Right.
But the question I had for Nick, and I'll pose that question to you and whoever else is listening, is what counts as per adventure? Is that the session of the night, or when the dungeon's complete, or when the actual task is complete? What determines the adventure?
I would think of them as in like an adventure is more like a story arc. So like a module, it would be considered an adventure. That's not a campaign. It's a series of modules chained together make a campaign.
So you wouldn't gain experience after each session. It would be once the actual quote unquote adventure is completed.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. Yeah.
So when you defeat the big bad, then you get experience.
Right. And then you can move on to the next big bad. And once you defeat that, you get the next experience. Because otherwise, after 25 sessions, you are the pinnacle. That's a little much.
But I could see people reading it that way.
Yeah. And also depending on the style of game you want to run, that can be perfectly fine. So you can experience the higher levels. It's like one of the games my group's running, we're running it episodic. And basically after each little 1 or 2 session story arc, we level up. But in game terms though, we say like, oh, the next session is like a year later game time to explain it. So there's huge gaps between when we're actually playing our characters and adventuring. And then we have a lot of downtime, just 8 months we spent just living life. And then so that's how we justify rapidly advancing in level. And you could do something similar with this too, if you wanted.
Yeah, it sounds like it, depending on how many times you play, and again, a given time is going to really determine how much experience you're going to have for every adventure you complete in that time.
Yeah.
Frame.
So yeah, you basically determine how you want to declare adventure. I could see people reading it the Matt way, after every arc or big bad defeated, or it's every session of the night.
Yeah. And either way would be perfectly fine. Just whatever works best for your group.
Yeah, it's not really. There's nothing really written down to say which is the correct way. So
right.
I'm assuming that per adventure means basically per like big bad or per goal for the night or something like that.
Right. That's what I'm thinking too.
All right. When you do gain a new rank, you may choose one of the following: gain 1 skill point and add it to any skill. You may not raise any skill above 5 or beyond 5. Gain 1 combat move if your combat move skill is 2 or greater.
Yep.
You can gain +4 to your stamina. Once per lifetime, a character may gain a second archetype when rising in rank.
Yeah.
So like a new class.
So you can dual
classing or multi-classing.
Yeah.
Player character may advance up to 4 times in rank up to legend. 4 times rank up to legend. Okay, most NPCs do not rise above expert level. High-ranked NPCs are rare and unique. Okay. So for once in the game that the NPCs don't outclass the characters.
Yes. The players are special.
Yeah.
Quick
Optional rule,
fashion.
rapid advancement. If the referee wishes to allow the characters to reach legendary levels of proficiency within a short campaign, they may grant 1 XP per session rather than adventure.
Here's the rule for that.
Yep.
Okay, so there is a clarification. So when
Minor,
he meant adventure, when he wrote it, he meant like, yeah, you defeated
Story
the
arc.
big bad guy. Okay.
Yeah, that
So
just that just needs to be cleared up a little bit and maybe placed
more
in
up
this
front there.
in this section here. I know it's an optional rule if you just keep reading, but most people are just going to be like, experience. Okay, every adventure. What the hell does that mean? Every adventure.
Right.
Okay.
I would put
okay.
the optional rule right
Right.
behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hero points. Heroic barbarians and dastardly sorcerers sometimes survive the ordeals, then lesser mortals perish in. Each player starts a game with 2 personal hero points. We know where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
The group also has additional number of hero points equal to the number of player characters present that session. All pools reset at the beginning of each session. A character may use their personal hero points with the other player's consent, points from the group pool, and with other from the group pool. Okay.
Yeah, it's like Marvel Karma.
Yeah. By spending hero points, a character may re-roll a single die throw, including damage, taking the better results. Ask the referee to re-roll a single NPC's die throw.
That's nice.
That's going to go over real well.
Yeah.
The second result stands. So it doesn't matter what they get. If it's higher, oh well, you suck. You wasted a point.
Right. It'd be like, oh yeah. At that point, blame the player that made the DM roll better.
Reroll a throw on a triage roll or sorcerer's mishap. Triage
So it's
roll?
kind of like luck points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way.
Take the better result. And then we have our equipment. Let's see. Silver piece. Some adventures may also have silver pieces. 1 out of 10 gold. Okay. Copper, 1 of 100. Electrum. They had to add Electrum.
Yes.
Half
Yay.
gold coin each.
I love Electrum pieces.
Gygax leaked. Yeah, that's how we used to pay you in Electrum pieces. I mean, we paid Blackstone in Electrum pieces.
Yes.
Hey, he liked that shit.
I
quartered the Electrum piece market.
I hated Electrum because it was half a gold for each coin. I was just like,
Think of it like it's like a 50-cent piece, like a $50, you know.
And platinum pieces are 5 gold coins each. I always did it as 10 just to make everything simple.
Yeah, I go with the 10 as well.
But I understand that's what AD&D always had 5, so, and Basic had 5 too, so. Then we have our armor classes, and it gives you protection bonuses and negatives, obviously. We got our common weapons. Some of them have requirements for using them.
Yep.
Our weapons, 2-handed general equipment. It's pretty much your standard list of what you would get in a fantasy game.
Yeah.
There is an optional rule of encumbrance. So I like that because I hate tracking encumbrance, and I usually don't track it unless it becomes a major thing with my group.
I don't either. Never have.
Yeah, I don't either.
It limits the items that a character may carry to a number of equal to 10 twice their physical skill. So physical skill is 5.
That's easy.
Yeah. You can carry 20 things.
Yeah. So it makes it basically, if you make your character sheet have an inventory box, it just has 20 lines. Fill up the lines, you're done.
Tiny items such as needles, as well as clothes, and backpacks do not count as items. 20 arrows, 6 torches count as 1, and a heavy weapon such as a greatsword or medium armor counts as 2. So there's some rules for around the encumbrance for bigger and smaller items. Or you could just play it as, we don't care about this and we're not going to bother, because that just makes it more complicated. Combat is pretty much standard. It has your surprise, your initiative, movement, represents 6 seconds of in-game time. You can move up to 10 meters, which we figured out.
And I think it's opposing die rolls, or if you hit or not, right?
Yeah. Attacking. Throw combat +8. To hit a target in melee with or effective range, this throw becomes a combat +10. Hit a target's beyond effective range. Apply half the target's combat skill rounded up as a penalty to hit in melee and in range tag.
Okay.
For example, hitting a character with a combat 3 is -2 penalty.
Yeah. So basically, your combat skill also acts as your effectively armor class or protection, which makes sense because a skilled fighter wouldn't just be good at hitting; they would also be good at not being hit.
Yep, dodging blows.
Yep.
Frenzy: if a character drops an enemy, they may move up to 2 meters or basically 5-foot step. What was that?
Yeah, it was a feat in 3.5. Yeah, but yeah, oh god, not great blow. But yeah, it was one of those feats that basically, hack this down. Now I can hack another one down, and then hack another one down. It makes for some fun like bloodbaths against like a bunch of like goblins and kobolds.
Yeah, 10 meters is 30 feet. I thought so. Okay, thank you, Captain Frost. He said 10 meters, 30 feet.
Captain Frost is now on the payroll as our metric to imperial converter.
Yes, he knows all those things because he has all those things in his head. I don't know why, but he does.
You're on metric to imperial converter.
Yes. Critical hits, natural throw of 12. Or if the attacker exceeds the attack target number by 6 or more, causes maximal damage.
Maximal.
I know, I like that. That's called maximal damage.
It's not max, it's maximal.
Yeah, it's extreme. Plus further effects.
Totally wizard.
Let's see here. Where is... Oh, here's the triage thing I was looking for. Oh, so it's like your death saving throws.
Yeah. Well, and also with this, if your stamina runs out, you're wounded and typically out. But even if you're down to 0, if you can make that a physical check of +6, you keep fighting. You're not dead yet. So
you're like in your death throes and you're just going out with a bang.
Going out on that pure adrenaline rush, just fill me full of arrows.
There it is, Matt. Cleave was the 3.
Yes, that is it.
Yes, cleave. There's a morale check, obviously, because we need a morale check. And we got our critical hit table, which I would personally use as an optional rule. I wouldn't make that standard in the game, but this is making it standard in the game. But obviously, books or guidelines, you don't have to use it. The only problem was you don't put optional, you get those asshole players. Oh, the book says that we can use it. Yeah. So,
well, the best way to entice your players to use this, because this is pretty brutal. These are like you're getting named.
Yeah.
Fingers, arms, legs.
Right.
Slash leg. Yeah.
Stabbed in the eye.
I don't think I would use these at all.
Decapitation.
I absolutely would. I would be, but the way I'd entice it, I would hope my players get the critical hit first. I'm like, I get to roll on it. Yeah.
Nose and teeth crushed. My God.
Yeah. Because we, for our current game, we actually started using a critical hit and critical fumble deck of cards, like the
throat pierced
Game Master decks. And
throat
they're
punch.
utterly ridiculous and fantastic.
You can't speak for 1d6 days with that throat pierced.
Oh, you're a spellcaster and you can't talk now. Sorry about your damn luck.
Crushed chest. Oh my God, this is like almost like Hackmaster.
Okay, James Storm. I heard.
I am friends with his tag partner.
Lung pierce.
Oh, Bobby Roode.
He's gonna.
No, the other one, Chris
chest
Harris.
wound.
I see him like every weekend.
Who?
Wildcat Chris Harris from America's Most Wanted. Him and James Storm.
Okay.
Yeah. I see him every weekend. We started in the same indie.
Oh, okay. So we got some movement rates here for Overlander map and hex movement, so that's good. Very old school hex movement. I like hex movement.
Yep.
He has a rule for forced marching roll too. If you want to do that, remember that back in Basic Edition, they always had rules for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you got con checks and stuff like that.
I love this. Look at this one, guys. Had a player argue a rule with me in 3.5 D&D for so long, I finally grabbed the book, I ripped the page out of it, and told him the rules of the book anymore.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
That works. Yeah, I would do the same thing with those people because they're so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
You even have rules about becoming lost during the game. So, different ways to roll to see if you get lost in different parts of your hex map, which I like.
Yep.
Because it's always possible to get lost.
Yep.
In case you're swimming or in the aquatic. Camping.
Google Maps not working.
Yeah, your GPS isn't working because you only have one bar.
Yep. And then the camping actually involves how everyone always says, okay, this is our watch. You can actually make your camp defensible to get a boat to help prevent the random encounters.
Yep.
Camping.
Yeah. Nick, how defensible is your current camp? Will you be attacked by a bear on camera?
Well, let me tell you, I am up on a small rise. I have 2 torches I'm going to light here shortly, and I have a small hand axe and a large axe.
Okay, I think you're okay.
And I have a real army entrenching tool too.
Yep, you're good.
You're good.
Which can kill.
Yes.
They also have a rule for foraging just in case you run out of food, so you can actually find food as you're moving. So you don't have to worry about food all that much as long as you have the skills to survive.
Yeah.
And just roll for it, and you're good.
Yeah. What I'm now envisioning, you could do the freaking Oregon Trail with this rule set.
Oh my god, yeah.
God.
You could
Great,
do the
we're all gonna die of
fantasy
dysentery.
the fantasy equivalent of the Oregon Trail because it has the overland movement, it has the foraging, it has all of this, it has the getting lost. That's my
we could all
adventure.
die of dysentery.
Yes.
Great.
And we have our underground movement, which we need anyway, so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, heck.
Oh.
Here he puts 10 feet.
Oh.
That's a typo.
But
typo.
There's also an interesting rule, though, because the inherent stress inherent to underground, characters will have to rest for 1 turn for every 50 minutes.
Damn.
Otherwise, they'll become fatigued.
For just traveling underground.
Is a turn an hour in this game?
A round is 6 seconds, so I would assume.
Okay.
Well,
it's a non-combat
10 minutes is a turn, so it's this.
So it's a non-combat one. So
so just
it'll be an
basically
hour.
every 50 minutes of spelunking, you got to rest.
Ah, gotcha.
I could see that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You ever gone into some of these caves around here? You get pretty tired, man. That's a pretty realistic rule.
Yeah. Light and darkness, obviously using torches or dim light. Beautiful. In dim light, characters suffer -1 to all actions requiring sight.
Thinking of dim light, I'm going to light some torches myself.
You
So
seem
continue. I can hear it.
Okay. We'll just look at the beautiful sky that Nick left us with.
Yes, scenic.
So I don't know if some of the character races have the ability to see at night or have dark vision or anything, but other games was always if there was a torch or a lantern, their vision would be null and void unless they're outside of the range of the torch or the light.
Yeah.
Sorcery. Basically,
elves actually do have the ability to see dim light as daylight and dark. So elves are the ones with the dark vision. But it doesn't actually say if they have a torch that it blinds them in darkness either.
I would probably roll that because that's how every other game I roll. Because I don't think it's fair that there's. I don't think it's fair though. So.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back.
Okay, thanks. Characters with the lore skill may sense and read magical inscriptions or detect magic. What did I forget? Lore 8 throw. So you can inscriptions detect nearby magic with the ability with an +8 or an A+. Characters may attempt to learn spells from a tome. Studying a spell takes a week and requires a lore 8. So it looks like the lore is most for spells thing is going to be based on an 8. Doesn't it say that? Yeah, I think it says that actually somewhere.
Yeah.
Spellcasting. Here it is. Spellcasting is always a lore +8 roll, regardless of what it is. It's always lore +8 or A+. I keep saying +8. Spell casting normally takes 10 minutes.
Yeah, because it's not. This is more of a ritual magic than like quick snap off combat magic.
Oh, okay, here we go. A sorcerer may cast a spell hastily within one combat round with a -2 penalty. A result of double ones is a critical failure, and it will fail regardless of skill. A throw missing the target number by 4 or more points is considered a critical failure as well. Wow. A result of double sixes is always a success, regardless of skill or spell difficulty. On a success, the spell is cast at the end of the 10-minute turn or round in case of hastily casting. Thus, a spell's effects will take. So, if I decide, I'm just going to take the 10-minute rule during combat, you could be dead by the time it even gets 1 minute.
Right.
Right.
So you're right, and it's being very ritualistic. The combat, the magic. It's not doesn't sound very fancy in its approach.
No, and it's also very dangerous, as we're going to come across.
Yep.
Well, if how the guy wrote it, if he's going with like the idea of sword sorcery, Robert E. Howard's writings, definitely would. He's making that fit in real well with that genre.
Yeah, because now we have the critical failures.
Ooh.
Yep. So if you critical fail or 2, go ahead, Matt.
Or if you fail by 4 or more, you critically fail too. So that's the nice little, instead of that 1 in 36, if you just try to do something like push your limits and just fail, you could have terrible things happen. Because this is where we get into like our hack master. Let's roll on the mishap chart and see.
Spell mishap table.
Yes.
So they're done that.
Yeah, then if you really suck on this, like, you open up a gate to the elemental spheres, and elemental appears and attacks you. The elemental return to its sphere within 8 hours. So you just summon it.
All the 2 numbers are mutates. Oh
my
god.
Oh my god.
Yep, this is where the corruption of magic that goes along with the.
I remember someone had a spell mishap, like casting magic missile, and the spell mishap was every time from now on until he casts that spell, he goes ethereal.
Oh god.
It's just so until there was something I'm trying to remember what he had to do, but he had to do some other like a remove curse, I think, eventually to get the spell mishap. But
42 is pretty bad. You fall into a necromantic torpor and will awaken in 1d6 months.
Well, we won't be using that chart.
Oh my god, that's pretty brutal. Not sure if I want to play a sorcerer in this game.
No, definitely never.
This is hilarious to me. It sparks much joy and makes me laugh, so therefore it must happen.
Just go into a coma for almost 6 months. Okay.
So we got our list of 36 mighty spells, and randomly desire, random choice, or whatever you want to do.
Yep.
The spells are pretty decent. I like them. A giant octopus called Leviathan. I like that one. That's cool. There's some pretty good. Eye of the Beholder, another good one. I mean, there's some really good spells.
Choking grip, your force grip, called the Leviathan, a giant octopus.
So you got your standard like the spell, remove curse.
Yeah. You got some better things and some worse things. You know,
summon a cacodemon. I mean, yeah.
No, we don't want to do that.
Rebirth.
Well, in Matt's case, it'd be a bunch of cat demons. So
yes.
So we got our monsters, and we do a reaction table, which I like.
Death. Kill 1d6 human-sized creatures or one of any other kind. Yeah. Target may make a physical save 12 plus to live. That's your power word kill.
Power word kill.
Oh my god, that's nasty.
Yeah. So monsters. Moving on to monsters. We got a reaction table. So, remember how 4 Against Darkness had that reaction Nick, right?
Yeah.
Reaction table.
Yeah. AD&D even had that no one used.
Yeah, I never used it. You're right. The monster format. is basically stamina, movement, armor, attack, skills, and special abilities.
Yeah.
So a giant gecko has the following: stamina 16, movement of 10 meters, armor of 2, a bite, 2d6 piercing, combat 2, physical 2, wall walking. That's what a gecko can do. It can walk the walls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spider lizard.
And special abilities. So we got disease, fear, incorporeal, paralysis. I can't say that word for some reason.
Paralysis?
Yeah, paralysis. Yeah. Stun and undead. And the monsters are pretty much what? Hey, there you go. Matt would summon a bunch of these gray cats.
Yeah.
Black
Instead of
food,
flying monkeys, they have
bears.
flying apes.
Oh, geez, that's even worse.
White apes.
Lots of dinosaurs. Cool.
Elemental.
Cockroach.
Ghost. Ghoul.
Ghouls.
Green slime. Got your ooze.
Horse. Hydra. Hail Hydra, right? Oh,
Yep.
Hydra.
Hydra. Yep.
Lich.
Lich,
Mummies.
lizard. Yeah.
Sorry.
Pretty much the standard things you would see in your zombie, wraith, wolf, things like that. NPCs.
Is there a vampire?
No.
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 Really?
No vampire.
Needs to add vampires. Need to have a vampire.
Nick's out. He taps out. No vampires. He's done.
Yep. Nope.
He wants
No
to suck
vampires.
blood.
I love to suck your blood.
Oh,
Want to
boy.
drink you like a high C fruit drink box. Okay.
Well, what would Christopher Walken say about this?
It's fine, but no vampires. It's nuts. Gotta have them. Add them in. Great undead. It's great. Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Walken.
Anytime. Pass me on. Give me like 2 copper pieces. Whatever you want to call it.
You want some Electrum like Blackstone, or?
No, it's caught in the market on those things. I'll take platinum.
Wouldn't that be our former president who would want the platinum?
God.
Oh,
Oh.
So we have our basic NPCs that you can use, common NPCs like a bandit, a sergeant, knight, things you would probably find in most books, just for, to have NPCs in case you need some quick stats and when your party attacks the random NPC. Like most.
that would never happen.
No.
Never.
No.
Yeah. In Sword and Sorcery Tales Adventurers Pursue Treasure, this chapter presents the simple rules for generating treasures belonging to monsters found underground or in ruins.
Yeah. So it's basically like the treasure type levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small, large.
And treasures, when I was reading there, that some of them are, like the magic, pretty damn dangerous. You might not want them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of the magic items are pretty, some of them are quite cursed in a way.
Yeah.
Some of the artifacts are pretty deadly. Necklace of the Beastal Fang, Crown of the True Lords. And some of them are really cool, though.
Yeah.
Mask of the Dread Visage. Oof. All non-allied creatures with 30 minutes of flee in terror for 1 hour. Ah!
Yep. A friendly results means all the undead follow you, like the Pied Piper.
Oh my god!
But they do your bidding.
Yeah.
So you become,
well, there's a perk.
Yeah. Zombie friends.
So we got 53 pages here, and this obviously does not have any artwork or any real
The Holy
layout.
Grail. I missed that last time.
Yes, 3 times a day on command, the Grail is filled with holy water, sufficient for 1 person to drink. When drunk, the water removes curses, afflictions, disease, poisons from the drinker.
But my question, no, they have the Holy Grail. What about the Holy Hand Grenade?
That is not in here.
No.
Well, there
Probably
needs to
the
be a
next
Holy
expansion.
Next expansion. So
we need vampires and Holy Hand Grenades.
You hear that? Add that in now.
And a rabbit.
And a rabbit.
And a rabbit. Vorpal rabbits.
Vorpal rabbits. 53 pages of just a basic draft layout. I would assume that it would probably go to around 80, maybe ish.
If you're going to add more like actual tables and artwork, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, tables,
Yeah.
artwork, splash pages, because generally that's what they do with books.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking closer. Maybe you can get yourself to 100 if you really try.
Yeah.
Section it out. Again, this is only a small draft of it, which is not due at the moment because the Kickstarter does not start until July. So we'll get some things about it in July.
Yeah. So it's
Yep.
still in development, but yeah, the layout and just the basic framework is actually really interesting for like a nice. It'd be quick to get into a game of this, to
Yeah.
go from character creation to start playing. And the way it's designed, it has enough, because of the critical successes and failures, it's going to create some memorable moments just from botched rolls.
Yeah.
So it'll definitely make for some moments. And it'll also probably be somewhat kind of really lethal too, because 1 in 36, you're crit failing and terrible things happening. And also 1 in 36, you're going to either get hit with or land a critical hit and do some massive damage. So it will be very much the Hollywood action flick of fantasy with all the explosions, the death, and the blood.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got out of it. It's very, like very thematic, visually action orientated in that regard. And I think this would be a good game for someone who if you had a bunch of people who, or just a small group of people who that like they're friends and they always wanted to play an RPG, but they felt like D&D was just a little too much. I think this would be a good game for them if they want to get into RPGs. It's simple, it's accessible in that regard, and I mean everybody's pretty much familiar with like Sword and Sorcery and Conan stuff, right? Which is this is pretty much kind of based off of. So I think that would be a perfect gateway game, if you will, to RPGs for people.
Yeah, and this would also be a good one to run at a convention, because you could even have built-in player creation, and it won't take that long. So they actually are making their own, and then play the adventure. And enough hijinks and wackiness is going to come up just because of the probability charts that it'll make for an interesting experience. And yeah, if you get your arm cut off, your eye gouged out, but you still live and complete the adventure. So it'll make for a great story.
Yeah,
I definitely look forward to this coming out. Definitely look forward to this coming out.
Yeah,
I will probably support it. I don't know. I mean, on Kickstarter, I don't usually support Kickstarters. I'm not going to lie. I'd rather wait till it's fully done before doing it. So that's just me.
Yeah,
nothing against Kickstarter people. So
yeah, I've done a few. Most of it is from people I've already have games for, so I've already know like what their production values are and what they've done. So it's more of basically a pre-order at that point.
Right.
Hence my Jane Austen RPG and how I have a complete selection of books for my Jane Austen RPG.
Okay.
Wuthering Heights, the RPG.
Yeah, it's who doesn't want to play Pride and Prejudice in LARP as Emma or Mr. Darcy?
No,
just not me.
No,
maybe my problem is I hang around too many females that are into historical costuming from around that period.
Yes,
could be, maybe.
Anyway,
seems a bit. I don't know.
Yeah, we're just gonna let that go. That's gonna be the show for tonight. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed everything we've gone over from the new gaming store, Your Parents' Basement in Butler, PA, right outside of north of Pittsburgh. Yeah, definitely. If I was in that area, I would definitely check it out too. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
Go back to the
if I do go, if I do go there, I'll maybe like do a little recording and I'll just be on the scene, on the site thing.
Yeah, definitely. Do that, please. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna sign off. We'll be back next week, hopefully. Who knows? but you know, things happen in life. You know, as we're getting older now, things happen. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So good night, everybody.